Hello and welcome to your weekly crimp of the electric car pasty, brought to you by the team at electrifying.com. On the podcast this week, yet another mid-sized Chinese SUV that you will never have heard of. Volvo is going into its back catalogue and Audi has been number crunching. Welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour. I'm Ginny.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Mike.
It's so nice to be on the podcast. I've missed you for a few weeks. How are we all?
All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Tom, for those of you who are listening and not watching, Tom is looking a little rosy cheeked. Have you been somewhere
think
warm
so?
and sunny?
Well, it was quite sunny, but it wasn't warm. I've been to Athens on a Volkswagen event, and it was sunny. If you looked out the window, you'd have thought, "Oh, this is absolutely paradise." But no, it was chilly.
Well, I think you've caught the sun. Are you allowed to tell us about the Volkswagen event, or is that another thing that's under embargo that we can't talk about yet?
Well, no, it's under embargo, but I think this goes out after the embargo has finished, so I can tell you all about it if you like.
Okay, yeah, tell us. Let's hear.
So I went to go and drive the new Volkswagen Transporter, which is really controversial. Yeah, well, you see, you're a Volkswagen van fangirl. So are you worried about it? Do you know why you should be worried about it?
I'm not worried about it because if that whole deal between Volkswagen and Ford, and where Ford got VW bits from the parts bin and the underpinnings and all of that stuff, and then Volkswagen got the van knowledge. I actually think Volkswagen have got the better end of the deal. So I'm sure the purists won't like it, but I was feeling positive. Was my positivity right?
Well, I think so. Yeah. So for people who don't know, the new Transporter, which there's been 75 years of Transporters, and they've always been what you might call a proper Volkswagen, and now they're basing it on a Transit. So all those people who had Transporters who thought they were a cut above are now thinking, well, I don't want a Transit, and they went out and all the last generation cars they sold out at dealers. There was a waiting list. They're going for above list price. They all went very quickly because people are in this slight panic about having a Transit. But I think it's great. I mean, I can understand slightly if it was a diesel because there have been some issues with the Transit diesel engines in the past few years. But the electric one's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah, and does it look as good in the metal? Because I think it looks great still.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it looks transity, especially from the side, and the back they've kind of tried to disguise it a bit, but the front looks Volkswagen. It's a bit. I think the Transporters have always been slightly narrower than your average van, and this is wider, which of course gives you more space inside. But it drives brilliant. Also, the interesting thing is you'd expect the Volkswagen to be more expensive than the Ford because it's kind of a premium badge, I suppose. But it's a little bit cheaper, and it's got a 5-year warranty, and it gets 5 years free servicing, and it's got better residuals. So all vans are bought on monthly and total cost by accountants, of course. So it's going to be a little bit less unless Ford does some clever discounting. But it's a really interesting positioning for them, and Ford must be going, hang on a minute, how did that happen?
All right, so here's my question to you. Would you have the Transit or would you have the Transporter in electric? Which of those two gets your top marks?
The Transporter. I mean, they're obviously very similar. Volkswagen apparently haven't done any tweaks to the chassis because why would you? Because it was great.
Drives really well.
The interior, people might worry that the Ford interior is not going to be as good as the Volkswagen, but it's really nicely built. I think it's got a different steering wheel for the Volkswagen, so it's got a nice one that looks like it's out of a Golf. The infotainment stuff is slightly different, so it's got a Volkswagen system, which again people might be a bit worried about because the Ford ones in the cars I think are better, and it's got fewer buttons down the bottom of the screen, but seems to work well enough. Although the sat-nav did get us spectacularly lost. I don't think Volkswagen's sat-nav mappers have ever been to Athens. So it was just all these transporters going in and out of industrial estates getting lost. But I mean, most people use CarPlay anyway, didn't it? Which is what we did in the end. So we could find where we're going.
And depending on when you are watching or listening to this podcast, there will be a full review of that car over at electrifying.com, and also heading to the YouTube channel. You've done a video as well, haven't you, Tom?
Yes.
And maybe this is a good time to say we've launched a van channel. Yay, not on YouTube. Yes, it's going to be on the website, electrifying.com/vans. We've just brought all that great stuff that we do with cars, and we've put all our knowledge to vans. Tom's been taking a lead on that. So we will be building up all of our van content. There'll be loads more videos coming. We've got explainers, we've got guides, we've got reviews. So you'll be able to find out all about that in the van channel. What about you, Mike? What have you been doing? What's been going on with you?
Well, this time last week, I was very cold. Well, I still am cold, but driving wise, I am now not cold, but I am broke because if you can work that riddle out, I've got the heating finally fixed in the i3. So I couldn't afford to get it done in January. So because as you know, there's 7 weeks in January, or it feels like it. So I had to wait to my payday. And I've got the i3 fixed, and it cost me a fortune. It cost me 4 figures to get it fixed because.
So what?
Yeah, it was £1,200, and that because
shocked face
because the i3, being German, is massively over-engineered. Instead of having just like a normal heater element, like a hairdryer or something like that, it has a tiny little battery, a little heat, an auxiliary heater. They call it the kettle heater. So it's a little self-contained unit that runs coolant, and it has like an immersion heater in it, like a kettle element, which heats the water up or heats the coolant up, and then that gets piped around. It's so complicated, and as a result, it costs a fortune. But I tell you what, it's the first time I've had any work that's required that I'm out of warranty. So I called the BMW dealer because I thought, electric, who's going to want to look at that? They wanted 230 quid just to look at it, just to plug it in to see what the error code was. So I went on the Hevra site, the site where you can find electric car specialists near you, and there's one in Dorchester, which is near me, Adam's Garage. They were brilliant. Slightly back and beyond, it's one of those kind of slightly worrying ones. You won't get a courtesy car there, but they were brilliant. They did it for I reckon half what the BMW would. It was a proper BMW part and everything like that. But it was I could do without it.
So where was that? Adam's Garage?
Adam's Garage in Dorchester. Yeah, if you've got an electric car.
Shout out to Adam's Garage in Dorchester. And also do let us know, because obviously we've seen this year, more and more used electric cars now being bought. Those numbers are increasing. We really do need to know who's your great local dealer, who's really been brilliant at fixing your electric car, somebody you really trust, somebody who's gone out there and got Hevra registered. So drop us an email, podcast@electrifying.com, or you can let us know in the comments below. Of course, if you're listening, you're going to have to, on your streaming service, you'll have to do an email. But we'll give them a shout out. If you think there's somebody out there who's brilliant, let us know. Oh, I like that story. I'm very sad you've had to spend that much money. And that kind of makes me understand why BMW never made any money on any of the i3s that they ever sold.
Ridiculous.
Talk about over-engineered.
I suppose, Mike...
Go on.
I suppose, though, if it was a battery fault, you'd still be under warranty, and you'd have to go to that BMW dealer, have to have the diagnosis, and then they could say it's not a battery fault, it's a fault with something else, and you'd have to pay that big amount. It's painful, isn't it?
It is painful, and the whole thing was painful because they phoned up and said, look, the bad news is the heater itself is £780. I thought, that's bad enough. And he said, but you need a fitting kit as well, because you have to break the old fitting kit to get the old one out. So that's another 80 quid for the fitting kit. And then the final insult. So I said, well, we can't run normal coolant in it as well. It has to be a specific BMW i3 coolant, which has its own part number. So that was another 35 quid. That's the final kick in the teeth, isn't it? That you can't just put normal coolant in. You have to use BMW's i3 coolant. So anyway, I'm hoping now that's at least another 5 years of warmth.
Well, I'm very happy that you're warm, because it still feels like the winter
miserable
that has gone on forever. Okay, should we move to news? Wow, we've had a Chinese SUV.
Really?
Wow,
That's unusual.
I know. That's what I thought. A bit of a shock, really. Who wants to tell us about that? Tom, do you want to tell us about
Well, I don't actually know that much about it. I know it's imported by the IM Group, who bring in the Aura and Isuzu and Subaru, don't they? And I've heard it looks quite good. Looks very orange. But other than that, I haven't read the article yet.
Oh, okay. Have you read the article, Mike?
I read the article.
Okay, well, Mike, you can tell.
I didn't go. Ben went to go and have a look at this along with Nicola. And all we got was pictures of Nicola sitting in the back of a flying car with a beer. So it was the last time we're going to send her to get any news stories from, isn't it?
Actually, I do have a voice note from Nicola that I haven't listened to.
Best not play it on air.
This is really. Shall I? No, let me do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on,
we can always take it out.
I said, send me a voice note and let me know what you think of it, because I'll write a news story or I'll add it into the news story. And then it just got really busy, and then I forgot. So let me find her voice note. Okie doke. Here, are we ready? Are we ready?
This is dangerous. This is dangerous.
Okay, sending you this while I'm sat on the platform at London Bridge. God, I'm still so bunged up. Yeah, I think they're really lovely looking cars. I'm going to try and be polite about this. I don't see how they're going to stand out compared to the Chinese market that's already kind of available in the UK at the moment, and other sort of Asian products that are available in the UK. Like you think of Genesis, if they want to aim to be the luxury EV, like the big number, or not the big number, or the big seller in
Do you think
UK.
she's had a few beers by this
For
point?
luxury
Just rambling. Just rambling.
All right, Nick, we'll end that voice note there. But that was Nick's. Let me turn her off. Yeah, can't get rid of her.
Throw your phone away. It's if anyone wants to do it, we haven't really mentioned the name. It's the XPENG G6. I think perhaps we should start at the start. So the XPENG G6, which was shown this week, it's already been on sale in various parts of Europe for a while. Actually, I think 2021 was the first time they brought the car in. So it's not brand new, but it's the first time they'll be doing a right-hand drive version and launching it into the UK. Just under £40,000 for the entry one, which it's got a 66 kilowatt LFP battery. So, and then the bigger one has an 87.5 kilowatt hour battery with 350 odd miles of range. But it's sitting in that kind of 40 to 50 grand slot, which everybody is in. And it's, everybody has said the quality is really good. I've read different stories about how it drives. So some people have driven it and said it was awful. Somebody said it's perfectly acceptable. So I don't know. I mean, we always seem to get a lot of people excited. People seem to, when you read the comments, people seem to like these sort of cars. But to me, they're a tiny bit kind of identikit.
Are they buying them? That's the thing. I mean, we've seen what's happened with Aura. They've had to do almost a fire sale on their prices, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think you need a reason. Yeah, you need a reason to buy these brands. You need a reason so that when you go in the pub and people say you've got a new car, what is it? And you say it's an XPENG, they go, what? And you need to say, oh, it's got a solid state battery and it does 800 miles and it charges faster than your Tesla. That's why I bought it. And people go, oh, right, okay. If it's just, oh, it's the same as everything else, then the only reason you're going to buy one is price. And that's when it gets a bit difficult, isn't it? And I think BYD had some quite... the prices were competitive, but they weren't particularly special. But then the leasing deals that have been out there since then have been much more interesting. And that's why people are buying them, or they're on Motability, or they're just competitive. So it's a dangerous place to be.
Let's just face it, BYD have thrown gazillions at their marketing budget. I mean, sponsoring the Euros to get brand awareness is no mean feat. And, there's a lot of brands like XPENG, like Zeekr that we've seen that are coming along. I don't know, like you say, I don't know if there's a compelling enough reason to choose a brand that you completely don't know over, would you choose it over, let me just maybe mention Skoda Enyaq, for example, just pluck one out of the ether, car I don't talk about much. No, but that bracket, like you say, once you're getting to 40 grand, you're getting some really good cars in that. Plus it's over now this silly luxury car tax bracket as well, which is another reason to perhaps think twice about it. So yeah, I'm with you actually. I'm not sure, but I haven't driven one, but looking forward to driving it.
Exactly.
Okay. Shall I talk? Go on.
The next news story is one that I do know about because I'm quite excited.
Oh God, I know you are.
Go on.
So Volvo EX30 cross country.
Yeah.
This is bang up my alley. It really is. Yeah, I love a cross country Volvo. Those old ones that are based on the V70 and things, they were great. And that kind of slightly higher up, raised ride height, but still most of the efficiency and driving dynamics of a lower down version. Yeah, I'm on board with this, and it looks fantastic, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, the pictures I've seen, it's kind of got roof racks and chunky tires and things, but even without that, it's going to look much better, I think, than the normal EX30.
But isn't it the price of a terraced house in my hometown of Rochdale for a car that actually has got no space whatsoever?
Isn't a Mars bar the price of a house in your
Tom, I'm not sure you can say that about my Rochdale. That's terrible. That's shocking behaviour. But how much is it, Tom? Come on, how much is it?
I think it's only like 1,700 quid more than the normal EX30, isn't it?
Well,
It's
the
not
official answer is we don't know yet because we're basing it on how much it's gone on sale. The price had been announced in Germany, I think, so we could extrapolate what we think it were going to be. But Tom, I'm on the same page as you, which is very rare that we like the same car. But I very fond memories of it. Across country, we used to have a long termer at Auto Express. Other magazines are available, and it was one of the most comfortable cars I've ever been in. It was just brilliant, wasn't it? And it was one of those ones we were heartbroken when that went back. Some of them we were glad to see the back of, but that one we absolutely loved. So it just got enough. It's so subtly done, isn't it? It's not got bull bars and great big kind of overriders or anything. So it's just that kind of. I'm really coming to like the EX30 because I think it had a tough start.
You were the one on the team who didn't. You were the slow burner on it, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was. I don't think it was finished. I think it was. I like the design. I really wanted to like it, but I think it was 6 months away from being finished. I think those first customers have done the final bit of R&D for them. Because every time I do mention the EX30 in a slightly disparaging way, we do get comments to say, "Well, have you driven one lately? Because it's actually tons better."
I've always liked it. There are a few flaws with it, but I really liked it a lot, and I do think this looks fantastic.
It had potential. Always had potential.
It does. It does. Shall I say that we should just all please give a round of applause to Audi? Come on, let's cheer Audi because it is finally saying goodbye to the world's most bewildering car naming system and hello to a brand new one.
Yeah, this was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare, wasn't it?
For years and years, if you didn't know, let me just explain this. Audi have used a really weird, it's just weird, outright weird numbering system that confused everyone. So I'm going to try and get through this, but you might need to correct me, you two, if I'm wrong, because I'm not even sure.
I've got the list in front of me.
I entirely understand it now. EVs had odd numbers. Petrol and diesel cars had even numbers.
Yeah, that was the easy bit.
Yeah, but then to make it worse, power outputs got random 2-digit numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, instead, it's going to be all about size. So cars numbered with 1 to 8 are going to be an A. That's for saloons and estates. And Q will be for SUVs. No more odd versus even nonsense. And for EVs, it's going to be even simpler. Higher powered versions will get an S badge. And if it's all-wheel drive, it's going to have a Quattro. And the first one to change is the new Audi A6, which is coming in March. Have I pretty much got that? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean,
Did I miss anything out?
The original numbering system, they changed it from the way they used to follow an A4 and it would say 2-litre TDI on the back of it. You'd have a pretty much good idea of what that car was. But they changed it because they started to downsize. So people who used to bought a 3-litre Audi didn't want to then be seen with driving a 2-litre or even a 1.5. So they came up with this numbering system, which was so German, based on the power output. So, but it wasn't even logical. So if you had between 108 and 122 horsepower, it had a 30 badge. Yeah. Then you went 30, 35, 45, 50, 55, up to 70. But there were, 70, if you had 400 horsepower, 536 horsepower plus, it had a 70 badge. So you had to know what all these breakdowns were and there were gaps as well because they weren't concurrent. So a 50 was if you had a car between 281 and 308 horsepower, it was badged as a 50. But the next category up starts at 328 horsepower. So they had, certainly when they launched this system, they had a couple of models that were in between. So it was
they just rounded them up, didn't they, or rounded them down?
Yeah. And anecdotally, even people at Audi didn't understand the system. It was so complicated. It was like sort of those ciphers you see on Only Connect or something. It was the most baffling system. So they're just going to go back to, as you say, the numbering system and whether it's TFSI if it's petrol, TDI if it's diesel, or EV if it's electric. So it seems logical, doesn't it? Welcome to the world.
I hope so, but I'm still expecting that there will be some kind of
They'll find a way of complicating it, I'm sure.
complication. I think so.
So it's got e-tron, hasn't it? After, if it's electric, so the A6 e-tron is the electric version, but there'll be a TFSI. But what about like a plug-in hybrid? Is that a TFSI e-tron? In which case, it's starting to get a very long badge, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God. No, that is really confusing.
Here's a question, though. Can I ask this? Why do you need to have the size of your engine or power output on the back of the car? Where does that come from? Why is that important? Because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking, I don't really, other than showing off.
Oh, Mike, there's so many areas that I could take this to such a degree. I really could, but
I mean, the name of the car, yes, I get that. Maybe even the trim level of the car, I could understand, but that's still showing off. But
it's showing off. It's bloody, macho showing off. I've got a really big engine. It's that. That's what it is. I'm really powerful.
You've never worked in a company where there's a company car park, Mike, and that engine size dictates where you are in the world.
In the pecking order. Okay. It's as basic as that. Right.
Yeah. The difference is, though, in Germany, they don't really have this. So, over here, if someone's got a BMW and they debadge it, it's generally because they've got a 116D or something. Yeah. Whereas in Germany, they debadge the 1M, the fastest car. If it's got
that makes sense.
If they got a 135, they take the badges off. Or they do the alternative. They put 116D badges on their M car. It's really nice. I much prefer that. That's a really cool thing to do.
That's such a classy. I love debadge cars. Incredibly classy, I think. Anyway, right. Let's give you a quick roundup of what videos we have got heading to the channel. You've been asking a lot to see the all-new Skoda Elroq against the Kia EV3. So we have listened, and that video is live. Tom's VW Transporter will be coming. And also, if you've missed it, Nick has been driving that £22,000 Citroen EC3 Aircross. I think it's safe to say she was really impressed with it. So go and check all those out over on electrifying.com if you haven't already. This is the point at which we say this episode of the Kilowatt Half Hour is brought to you with the help of Anderson EV. If you're into design as much as you are electric cars, you will love their home chargers.
Anderson's A2 and A3 aren't just functional, they're beautifully made with a choice of 200 colours and finishes, so they can blend in with your home and be made to match your car.
Or even Mike's shirt, if that was something that he wanted. There are no bulky boxes, just smart tech that looks great and works, and you can find them at Anderson-EV.com. Okay, let's move on now to Barnard's Bargains. What have you got for us?
I got sent one directly by a leasing company, and they've got a few MG4 Trophy long ranges, but only in volcano orange. Which,
nice.
Which
I like that colour.
I think I'd probably go for, but it might limit it a bit. Yeah, £231.28 a month, which I thought was pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's only a little bit more than like Corsas and things have been. So I'd much rather have the MG4 over that.
Yeah, definitely. And, that long range is fantastic. So where can people find details of that deal, Tom? Is it over on the website?
I'll put it on the website, yeah. So it will be there. But also, listeners have been writing in with their bargains, which is saves me a job.
Replaces
Mark,
you.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Nobody could ever replace you, Tom Barnard.
So Mark Baker has said, I tend to change my car at 3 years old and spotted and bought one of 3 delivery mile Polestar 2 bargains yesterday. They're all facelifted and they're registered on the 31st of December 2023. He must mean 2023 as well, yeah. Standard range rear-wheel drive models on sale at $25,450. They were just shy of £45,000 new, so 20k off. Feels like a heck of a deal. There are still 2 more at Marshall's Volvo in Grantham at the moment. Do they make the Barnard's Bargains cut? Well, they do, but I would ask some questions about what they've been doing for a year and 2 months.
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it?
Did they find them at the backyard or something and dust them off?
That's an extraordinary deal, though.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
I'm quite tempted with that.
Yeah, there are a few I-Paces which I think are also at the Marshalls, which are they're out of Harwoods. I saw the 30k off list.
Okay,
brand new. So if you're in the market for that sort of thing, there are some bargains about.
Okay, so say you heard it on the podcast and head into Marshall's Volvo Grantham for a Baker bargain. Baker's bargains.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. That's a Baker bargain for this week as well. Okie doke. Car buying questions?
Yeah. We've
Okay.
had a result, Jenny, from last week's pod or the week before when you may remember that we had something from Ian Braithwaite said he was looking for a car for his wife's trumpets, which isn't
So many places to go with that.
you recommended, I think you recommended a Fiat 600e as one of the cars you had on the shortlist. And would you know it? Ian's been back in touch and he says, I just thought I'd like to let you know that following your advice last week, Joelle has bought a Fiat 600e for her trumpets.
Yes.
Ex-demo from a local dealer, ticks all the accessibility box. Kid likes it too, but I feel sorry for him as there are no courtesy lights or cup holders in the rear. I'm going to have to make him a bespoke storage box and the middle seat tray and buy him a torch. Yeah, it's a shame Fiat forgot to design the other half of that interior, didn't they? But I'm so pleased. It's great, isn't it? Nice bright red Fiat 600e. So that's not. Everyone smiles all round.
You could get him one of those little head torches for him to wear in the back seat with maybe some kind of accessory off the side with a cup and a straw in it. I'm sure you can design something. That's brilliant. I love that. Well,
Or a couple of quid from Amazon. Just get a battery lamp or something that you have for under the stairs and stick it on the ceiling. Yeah.
Perfect.
I preferred my idea, but thanks anyway. That's okay. Okay, this week's Buyer in a Pickle. Ms. Reb1 has messaged us on YouTube to say, I would like a used EV. I have a budget of up to £30,000. I hate SUVs. I want a saloon or a hatch. I need a reliable 200 miles on the motorway in winter. I was set on a Tesla Model 3 long range till October last year before changing my mind for the obvious reason, in brackets, Elon. I'm considering a BMW i4, not many options below 30. Should I wait till September for more 2022 used i4s within my budget, or do you recommend another car? And I think we may have already answered that question because I'd be heading up to Marshall's Grantham.
Yeah.
And I'd be having a look at those Polestar 2s if I were you.
Yeah. That does seem to be the answer, doesn't it? Yeah.
Is that a long enough range? Do you think that's going to do 200 miles in winter on a motorway?
Yeah.
The big battery one.
The big battery.
Yeah.
It's 80 odd kilowatt hour, isn't it? The big battery in a Polestar.
I mean, I think though, probably it's a really tricky one, isn't it? But I love the i4. I think it's a super efficient car as well. For me, I would be a little bit tempted to just hang fire and wait and see if you can get an i4 in your price bracket. I was looking around on the listings, the used car listings we've got over at electrifying.com. There are a few coming through. And I think for me, I don't know. What do you reckon? Would you not be tempted
there'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of 3-year leases that will end around that point. But I mean, the one I would throw in is the Ioniq 6. I think that's, if you like your saloons and your kind of sleek cars, a big battery, Ioniq 6 would be, I think you'd get 200 miles out of that.
No, agreed. I think of other things. I think if for something that's sporty though, in that category, I think the i4 is quite hard to beat.
I think it's head and shoulders. It sounds like it's the car you want anyway. So I would say, things happen quickly. Look at how buzzes. The prices dropped like a stone on those at the end of last year. And it was because a lot of cars were ending 3-year leases. People were changing. There was movement in the market, and that just really triggered the used price fall.
Is the buzz working, Mike?
Is today. It's so flaky, this thing.
It
really is. Yeah, I got it in the weekend. It said the key's not in it. It wouldn't let me start it. I thought, well, the key's here. I'm holding it in my hand. No, key not detected. Sorry. So I had to get out, lock it up, walk away, come back. Yeah, it's fine. Here's the key. So I did that. And then when I came back from running club on Monday night, all the lights stayed on, which, like coming home lights, that's fine. Went and had a shower, made something to eat, looked out, car was still, headlights and all the lights were still on, didn't go off. So I had to go out, turn it off, switch it on again, turn it off again. So it's loads of things like that. And then you Google it, you think, I'll be the only person doing this, and it comes up with 1,000 results. Oh, headlights stay on. Yes. Okay. So it's I mean, it's a bit flaky. But,
it's lovely though.
Yeah, it's lovely, but you can't rely on it. But okay. I think there's some cars that you own and some cars that own you, and I think the buzz is the latter category. I think it's sings to its own tune,
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay, let's move on to another car buying question. Mark Aldridge says, hello. I currently have an Audi S4 looking to get into electric. I was looking for some advice on a car similar size, if not a bit bigger. We're a family of 3 with a large child seat still for a 15-month-old. I want the car to give me a bit of a thrill. Any help is appreciated. Now, Mark didn't mention budget, but if it's a similar budget to an S4, I reckon we're looking at what, 45, 50,000, something like that.
Yeah, I would
Well,
say so.
I think just ditto from what we were saying above on BMW i4.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
proper driver's car, isn't it? It's more fun to drive than anything else in that class. Enough room for that baby seat, I guess.
Yeah, no, there would be. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's great storage space on that car.
And you can have really fast ones if you want them, but even the standard car's quick enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you start to get beyond the standard car with single motor, you're really pushing it up price wise. But that car has got enough performance even without that. So yeah, I think that would be. I would second that. I would also go for an i4. Mike, anything to chuck into the mix? Oh, go on, Tom. You got another one?
Well, I thought a curveball, just thinking about cars that are really good fun to drive and have a bit of space, and probably as much space inside as the i4, if you think about it, is your Born VZ. I mean, it won't have the interior quality of the S4, but that's a really fast, great. It's probably at least as quick as an S4, isn't it, down any road?
Yeah, definitely.
And would go under budget, and yeah. Huge fun.
And it did, and that's proving really efficient. That car. It's just been one of the very pleasant surprises for me with it, is that it's been very efficient over winter. So even in really cold temperatures, I've regularly been getting kind of 3.1, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, and that's when it's been hitting, 0 and sub-zero. So yeah, it's and that was on sort of motorway. So that would be an interesting one as well. But I do think again, i4 is hard to beat, isn't it? Okay, got another one here that I'm just going to throw in from Sue. She's got a budget of around £75,000.
Whoa.
She wants a sporty but spacious EV moving into electric for the first time. She needs a good sized boot, needs that more than necessarily passenger space. Not new, ideally less than a year old. Any suggestions, gang?
That's a good budget.
It's a good
It's a good
budget.
If you want
especially for a used
performance,
one.
yeah, I mean, Ioniq 5N and enough change for a few nice holidays, I'd say. I mean, that kind of money, you'd be also looking at Taycans and
it's Taycan Sport Turismo, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Audi GT or something like that, I would say.
That's what I thought. There's a lovely Taycan Sport Turismo for 70,000 on the listing site that I have been kind of stroking and looking at that car. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah.
Trying to think, what
Polestar
any other
3?
thoughts?
Polestar 3, that'd be nice. Big boot.
Ideally, she doesn't want you. She wants, she was saying, not from you, maybe 12 months old, demonstrator, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Polestar, as much as the Polestar 3, it probably starts a nice one is probably around that level, I'd say, as an X demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Lotus, the Electra?
Yeah, I think, I don't know.
You're not going to get one for 12 months old, but what about one? I don't know. Do you not think they're coming down into that price bracket?
It's a nice car. I mean, I went on the launch of it. It's a nice thing. I don't know.
You've got reservations. Go on.
I don't know, because I'm struggling to think what my reservations would be on it. But I think there's other cars I would choose over. I would choose a Taycan. I would probably choose an Audi RS-GT, the Audi version of the Taycan, if you like. I think that's. I kind of prefer the look of that one. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
no,
I think
it's a good shout, the Electra.
I think Cross Turismo, I think, would be my thumbs up on that one.
Okay.
Okie doke. Should we move on to the postbag? Thank you as always for all your messages, all your emails. It's podcast@electrifying.com if you do want to get in touch. On the subject of electric tailgates, Vanessa Bracken has said, I agree with Vicky. I don't like powered tailgates as they are far too slow. I like to slam and go. Lots of hate for tailgates. Gav Kenny, don't like the powered lid either. You're not alone, Vicky. And if you get your hands dirty when you lift the boot, it's time to wash your car, Tom.
Well,
That's
I do like
harsh.
washing a car. I do like
I
washing
know
a
you
car,
do.
but at the moment, it's like you'd have to wash your car every 5 minutes. If you drive down the driveway, it's filthy. It's ridiculous.
That's awful.
Yeah. So yes, lots of thoughts there of people agreeing. Brexee, BRXEE. I like power opening boots. I just don't like waiting for them to close. Yes,
First world problem, isn't it?
I don't mind. I
Well,
quite like them. I don't have a.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you another reason why the car manufacturers like powered boots is because you have to be able to cater for people of the size of Mike and people who are the size of Ginny. And even in China, where lots of people sell cars, the average height of some drivers is even shorter. So you need to be able to have, if you're able to reach up, if you're a 4-foot woman or a 8-foot man, and
just
not
saying,
bump
I'm
your
not.
head.
I'm not a 4-foot woman. I'm a 5'4" woman, actually. And actually, I'm a 5'4" and a little bit, so 5'4" and a quarter. And Mike's not 8 foot either; he's 7.5 foot.
No, not in my shoes. No, it's just under 8 foot.
So a powered tailgate means they can do it remotely, and they don't have to worry about if people can reach up or if they're going to bang their head.
That's where the button is. The button's on the tailgate, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the button is on, but it's often on the remote as well, or you can wave
That's
your
true.
foot underneath.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any welcomes to the world of electric, Mike? Who
We
are
do,
welcoming
yes.
to our world?
This is good. I mean, we get more every week. It's wonderful. Matt Foister says, I've just ordered my first electric car on Motability, VW ID4, which should be collecting in April time. That's counting the weeks, isn't it? When you know you've got something new coming like that, which is good. At DFowls ID7, wow, already got a name as part of his YouTube name, which is good. ID7 Tourer being delivered tomorrow. So I wrote this a couple of days ago, so you'll have it by now. As a new to EV driver, I'm looking forward to, and he's listed 3 things here. Number 1, not having to chip pack ice off the windows every morning in the winter. Yep. Number 2, not having to hope it starts in the cold weather. Number 3, a powered tailgate is the dirty, slimy dirt hands that I could do without. So there you go. So hopefully, DFowls ID7, you are fully ensconced in the world of electric and you are loving it on all those 3 things, which would all 3 of those 3 things you're going to get in a week here, aren't you? So it's sounds perfect. Yeah. And finally, we've got another one. We've got moving on to the next subject, which is about the road tax. We call it road tax, VED. Tax hack advice. I think we covered on that one last week, didn't you, Tom?
Yep.
Martin Ray 7001 says, re the road tax hack. You don't have to sawn your car, so you don't have to say it's off road online. You just have to you ask for the reg, the 11-digit code which is on your V5, and then you're reminded that the vehicle is already taxed. And would you like to go ahead and tax it anyway? Yes, please. Job done. And the whole idea of this is that it means if you retax your car before March, it does mean that you effectively get another year of it being nothing or whatever before you have to pay the raised new price. So that's what that's all about.
What else in the post bag? Go on, Tom. What else we got?
Small cars aren't small, and stop saying they are. We've been told off. So John Kellett 7797 says a car 4.3 meters long is not small, lest you forget the length of a 1975 Ford Cortina, a reasonably large family saloon then, ranged from 4.26 meters to 4.361 millimeter. So
that's you told. Yeah.
True, that is me told.
That's the new benchmark we should judge all cars by, is a mid-70s Ford Cortina then.
Yeah. I used to have a Range Rover Classic, and that was 4.4 meters long. So cars are big, because I think an Astra is 4.4 meters long now, isn't it? So it does go to show. But that's the way of the world. If you want a bigger boot every time, and every time there's a new model, you expect more space inside, and you expect all the safety kit, and etc. etc.
That's why cars have got bigger. Because of all those reasons, because of all the safety kit we need to put into them. But Marky Tab 44 agrees completely with John. The original smart car was small, and all most people would ever really need. Please stop calling vast, overweight lumps small cars. They are not.
In capitals, they are not as well.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to something that we love, because we bloody love, you love, 22 kilowatt chargers. Oh my goodness me.
Every other comment this week was about the love for 22. We could just have a new channel just based on that.
Should we just rattle through one each of the love for the 22 kilowatts? R08 TAM, a lot of chargers in France are 22 kilowatt, hence the Zoe having this.
Stephen Wensley says, smart #3 appears to be the only other small car with 22 kilowatt AC charging.
Yeah, and Daniel JM5HD also says smart #1 and #3 include 22 kilowatt charging as standard.
Martin Ray, very valid point. I hope that 22 kilowatt AC charging becomes more of a thing. If you're only allowed to park at AUDI for 90 minutes, it would make their AC chargers so much more useful. The phase 3 ones anyway. I couldn't agree more. It really would. It infuriates me. You know, when you're on an AC charger and you just like try to top your car up and it's anyway.
And 20th Century Pox says, it's a great name. I can see 22 kilowatt becoming a new standard AC capability. Most homes will never have it, but in 3-phase. But a great many workplaces will be able to provide it. So yeah, charging at work, it's the perfect place, isn't it?
First, Carlton Cummins says the Renault Megane can also AC charge at 22 kilowatt as well. Interestingly, the Transporter only charges at 11 kilowatts, which I think is a real missed opportunity, because for vans, they're going to charge at a workplace, aren't they? That's typical. They have 3-phase. So you think if you're a fleet and you've got, I don't know, 10 vans and you want to charge them even over a lunch hour, you don't want to have 10 DC chargers, which will cost you $8,000 each for the units.
Yeah.
Put in a 22 kilowatt and you're going to get a decent amount of range over that hour or overnight or whatever it is. So, the missed opportunity. I think 22 kilowatt on commercial vehicles is where you need to be.
Yeah, agreed on that one completely. Well, and on that positive note about our love for the 22 kilowatt chargers, I think we should bring an end to this week's Kilowatt Half Hour-ish. We've not gone quite as long as we do sometimes. So, guys, have a lovely week. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Please do leave your comments in the comments below. We do read them, reply to as many as we can. And if you drop us an email, we always love to hear from you. Get your car buying questions in to podcast@electrifying.com. Until then, have an electrifying week. See what I did there?
Yeah.
You like that? No, they're not smiling. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.